perfect bridge in the middle of my talk. I love the way it all works out. So, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Center for Spiritual Living, East Hawaii. You are magnificent. Any questions? Sure? Can we say it again? I am magnificent. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Welcome to all of those here for the first time. Also, anybody out online that is joining us for the first time, we are divinely impressed that you have chosen us this day. So thank you for coming here. I've missed you guys. I feel like it's been weeks since I've been standing up here. Yeah, I did go to Maui last week. I bring love from Adam, who is thriving over there and is part of the Unity Church, our sister church on Maui, and they invited me to speak. So what am I going to say? Yeah, no, we've got Stephen doing the talk. You guys don't need me. Thank you, Stephen, for giving a great talk. Really enjoyed it. And, of course, it's going to find its way back into mine this week because that's the way things work. Anyway, I'm very, very happy to be here. We've got a lot going on at the church. But for today, we're going to stick with the talk. I'm going to try. So this theme of this month is playing with paradox. Playing with paradox. I want to just get into that word playing because it's so easy for us in our lives to get caught up with everything that's going on. We forget to have a good time with the things that just are. Things that just are. And you say, well, I don't have control over that. It's got nothing to do with control. It's just about how you'd like to walk it out. And today's topic is getting comfortable in discomfort. That's easy, right? That's really easy. We had these talks on Thursday called Conversations in Consciousness, and of course, it's always brilliant because we're talking about this stuff, and I'm going, oh, that's going to be my talk, that's going to be my talk, that's going to be my talk, because everybody has a different experience of how they're going to see this talk, see the title, and relate to it. So I get a really good basis on Thursday for what should come up on Sunday. I try and do it afterwards, but you know what? Every now and then we get a little bit of inspiration. And part of my inspiration comes from the person who wrote the inspirational outlines for this month's talk. Her name is Chris Ashley. And so these are not guidelines that we have to follow, but they are given to ministers throughout the organization as a little support. Some quotes, a little bit of this, a little bit of idea of where she thought playing with paradox would go. And I'm going to read what she wrote because she made it very clear. She said, Ernest Holmes was very clear that we are spiritual beings living a human experience. Yet so often we get caught up in seeing from only one perspective that we miss what that means. If we are so focused on oneness and the big picture that we miss opportunities to reach out and love and support one another, then we're not embracing the totality of our humanity. Isn't that interesting? We focus so much on oneness that could actually pull us away from experience the connection of humanity. It's like we know it, but we don't do it. And if we get so caught up in the suffering and the challenges of living in the world that we forget our divinity, then we're missing out on the joy of being infinite and eternal. So it's almost like being able to see one side of it without really considering the other. I'm going to come back to that. But because we always want to have a little bit of humor in here, because we're going to go a little deeper, so I'm going to lighten it up. A patient in the dentist office, just before he was about to have some work done, asked the dentist, how much does it cost to have a tooth pulled? The dentist replied, $300. The patient said, all of that for only a few minutes of work. That seems expensive. To which the dentist said, well, I can pull it a little slower if you like. Doesn't that kind of give you a little bit of a perspective on what's going on? So here the thing is, it's all about perception. The paradox is about how we perceive what is going on around us, right? In one of the slides that Stephen had, we had what could be the number 6 or the number 9. Depending on which side of it you were standing, whether you were being pulled, your tooth being pulled, or pulling the tooth, right? It doesn't matter. It's all about perception, how we perceive what it is that we're experiencing in the world, because we stand in judgment, being held up by our perception. We can justify anything to stand and hold strong our perception of a situation. So one of the things we know is that an absolute, the opposite of an absolute truth is not a falsehood. It's just another absolute truth. Isn't that interesting? The opposite of an absolute truth is not a falsehood, it's another absolute truth, depending on your perception of what is going on and how you see the world. So a lot about what we do is trying to navigate these, not opposites, but differences in the world around us. And Dr. Holmes is very clear on this too. He says, you want to keep the doorway of your mind open. Feeling, thinking, communing with this life. Know that it fills you with light and with power. Remember that. Keeping your mind open fills you with power. Now that seems contradictory to what we all know, because if we keep ourselves strong, protected, we are in power. Keeping yourself open, that unknown, that what's coming next, does not seem powerful at all. But it truly is, because it's in that unknown and the power that we get to experience something we might never have thought about experiencing. We get to stand strong. We get to be flexible. Because when we are open, we are flexible. When our mind is shut, we are inflexible. Flexibility is a magnificent power because you get to be in the flow. You get to be in the flow of life. So we still see our differences. You know, we always want to look around us and we navigate the world. Well, I'm a cat person, you're a dog person. I'm a tea person, you're a coffee person. I'm a big picture person, you're a detail person. These are neither right nor wrong. These are just different ways that we see the world. And every single one of us in this room, even though we're connected in one idea to be here today, to come together to celebrate, to enjoy, to learn, maybe to find something that sparks you, a gem. Even if you're coming here for classes, to deepen yourself into the teaching of Dr. Ernest Holmes, within us, the uniqueness of who we are will give us a unique perception of everything. Can you connect in similarity with somebody else? Of course you can. But the bottom line is that we are so different that we want to honor and be flexible in those differences. We don't want to judge. And how well do we do that in community? We do a pretty good job of it, I think. We honor each other, we're flexible, we're willing to listen to somebody else's idea. You might not agree with it, but you're willing to listen to it. How do you think that works with family? Yeah? Anybody been to Thanksgiving dinner lately? Yeah. Anybody been to Thanksgiving dinner lately with your family? It's wonderful, it's joyous, it's magnificent. And if you've ever find people that are exactly like you and exactly completely different from you, there you're going to find them at your Thanksgiving table. And the thing about it is that you're going to find them every year and they're going to be exactly the same. And I'm not going to get into that talk because that's a completely different talk. But what we're going to look at is that we are all absolutely right in our perception of the world. Yeah? Can you look at that person at the Thanksgiving table who's spouting a different political view to you and go, yeah, they're right? No. It's very, very difficult to be able to sit at a Thanksgiving table with somebody that is truly spouting all the stuff that you can completely justify is wrong and the untruth and absolutely not the truth at all, and they are completely convinced of it as their truth. And they can justify it in every way and in ways that you've never ever thought about even having an argument about. And you know what? They're right. Oh, it's so hard to say. That is so hard to say that they're right. But they are absolutely right for them. They are right. The opposite of the absolute truth is not a falsehood. It is another absolute truth. And you are not wrong. You are absolutely right as well. Completely. And you can justify everything you say, even though it could contradict them completely. It makes no difference. You're both right. But how is that possible? That we can live in a world where something that looks so extremely different, and it's just so ridiculously different sometimes, are both absolutely right. Because they are. They just are. It's a person's truth. It's the way they see the world. It's their research that they've done. It's the things they've listened to and watched. It's the way they were raised, even if you're raised in the same house. Isn't that interesting? Even if you're raised in the same house, it's completely different. But now, what is the challenge? Telling them they're wrong? That doesn't ever go over well. It doesn't, because suddenly you're both justifying exactly what your truth is. Just giving in completely and going, yeah, you're right. Yeah, because you know you're not. You know they're not right because you know you're right. There's a third way. There's a way of sitting in the discomfort. This is not giving up. This is not letting go. This is being willing to sit in a place and listen to that person. Oh, it's not easy. It is not easy at all. And you know what? You want to just staple your mouth shut. You want to buckle it down because it is boiling up inside of you and you can feel it. And it's like, I am going to explode if I don't say something soon. That's the discomfort. Can you sit in that discomfort and listen? Just listen. We don't. We leave. We leave. We go find something in the kitchen to do, maybe wash a dish, bake a cake, make a 10-course meal just so you don't have to go back. Anything. You run away. We run away from it because we don't want to have that conflict. And we know that they are so hard-headed that they are never going to hear your truth. They're never going to listen to you. And yet you left. So you're not listening to them either. This is not judgment. This is not right or wrong. This is just the way it is. We see it happen all of the time. It might not even be Thanksgiving. It could be something completely different. It could be in a coffee shop in Italy. Trust me, it happens a lot there. It happens a lot in a coffee shop in Italy, especially the old guys that have got a lot of time on their hands and a lot of experience, and they've got so much stuff to back them up. They've got years and decades of tradition and experience and living to back themselves up. It's very exciting. And then they give themselves a hug and a double kiss and they leave afterwards. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. But herein lies the question. Can you sit in that discomfort and actually listen? Listen to the person. Listen to where they're coming from without judgment, without going, ugh, I'm going to check that box off. Nope, 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 no. Just listen to them. Do you think there's something to be gained from that? besides just being a really nice person? Do you think that you might actually hear something, or maybe you're afraid that you might actually hear something you can connect with in them? Therein lies our fear of the discomfort, that something might actually come up that we can go, oh, I get it. I can see where that might have come about. I can see how they are seeing things. It's not going to change you. It's not going to change what you believe, but it might bring up a little compassion in the arena of the people that you are with. And the one thing I will guarantee you, it's going to make the experience a whole lot nicer. So can you get comfortable in the discomfort? Well, we're coming up on Thanksgiving soon. You might be able to tell me when it's all done. We'll come up here and we'll do some stories, some show and tell stories. And Dr. Holmes adds this, and let us not forget the importance of keeping our minds in a state of good-natured flexibility. Good-natured flexibility, not rigid. Flexibility, like, I'll go along with this. It's for a day, not even a whole day. It's for a couple of hours. It's worth trying. Because with an experience like that, you can take out into the world in any situation and now if you can sit in that discomfort, be able to sit in that discomfort anywhere, anytime, with people that are maybe going off and ranting around you, and your willingness to be okay in there and not have to defend yourself, not have to justify, you might be able to get some more things out of it. He said, yes, we must be flexible and tolerant, as well as positive and affirmative, right? So we're not just going to sit there and nod, have another sip of wine, nod some more, and just check out. We're actually going to engage. We're going to be flexible, tolerant, positive, and affirmative. So I'm going to challenge you to that. Challenge all of us to it. In every situation, not just Thanksgiving, in every situation. Because everybody is right. Everybody is right in their own belief and their own way of doing things and where they came from and why they believe it. Listen to what they're saying. Sit for a minute. Like you said, when we do meditation, you feel that cramp coming on. You go, I gotta get out of here as fast as possible. If you breathe into it and you go a little bit, the cramp will start to disperse and you might be able to hear them and hear beyond what they're actually saying. Because there might be something else going on that wants to be known at the same time. All right, so now we've done that with other people. Now let's look about sitting in the discomfort with ourselves. Thank you, Karen, for bringing in the big part of it with change. Causes a lot of the discomfort in our lives within ourselves. The thing about ourselves is that none of us want to be in a uncomfortable position. We don't. And like we were sitting at the dining room table, if it's uncomfortable, we run. We run from it. We run away. We're not going to stay and sit in something that feels particularly yucky. But therein lies the gem and the joy. It's being able to go into that place of quiet when things are really blowing up around you, within you. Be it a change or transition in any shape or form. Be it just an idea that you're just feeling like today is not going to happen the way you want it. Do you run to that place of knowingness and comfort and I can make this happen? Or do you stop for a minute and sit in that yuckiness and allow it to just seep down? Like a glass of water, when you stir it up with sand in it, it's chaotic. And that's how you're feeling. So what do? You run, you empty the water, and you get another glass. Or do you let the glass sit for a minute and let everything just settle down so that you can still see the clarity in the water above? That sitting in the discomfort is waiting for all that yuckiness to settle down, to show you what can be from where you are. That's in every situation for yourself. This is your own personal work, because we run too often from that which is uncomfortable to that which is comfortable. We run too often from what we do not know to that what we do know. And even the comfortable and even the knowing need not be very healthy for us. But it's what we know. I just keep doing this. Well, you've been doing it for years. How is it doing for you? Not very well. But you're going to keep doing it? Okay. No. Take the time to move into that center space. That space that we look at the paradox, the pair of docks, right? That pair of docks, it was brilliant. The pair of docks, where you move into that center space that is the unknown. But it's a space of choice. It's a space that is uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. And it's not always easy to stay there. But if you can stay there, Dr. Holmes even says that when something shows up that has power over you, and this discomfort is a power over you, you look at it until it no longer has any power over you. In other words, you stop, you stay, you keep looking, you keep allowing. And yes, there is trust involved, but once you've done it once, you can build that trust pretty quickly. And you let it happen. There was a lady that I was working with a while ago, no names mentioned, it's not even on this island, and was working on a relationship. She wanted a relationship. She'd left a relationship because it was no longer what she desired, but she desperately, desperately wanted a relationship. And as we often know, that when you are that space in between relationships, it's extremely uncomfortable. All you want to do is dive into another one. And normally when you do, you dive into one that is dysfunctional as the one right before, because you know it. It's comfortable. I'll just go have the same comfortable. And sometimes you don't even know you're choosing the same thing. It just feels familiar. So you choose it. It's great, right? But no, what we want to do is we want to take the time to do some work on ourselves so that we are not leaning back into that same old known discomfort, dysfunction, just because we know it. We're willing to take a chance on something new. But we don't get there. You know why? Because we can't sit in the discomfort. We can't go quiet. If you notice this, and this person was a great example of this, she got busy. She joined the aerobics class. She joined this class. She was doing watercolor painting. She was now going to be sewing. She was taking a cooking class, cake decorating, going out with her friends on this Friday, this Saturday, something else, this event, that event. She filled her life up with so much going on, there was no time to feel. There was no time to feel the discomfort. I called it noise. I said, all you're doing is you're running from the quiet by filling your life with noise. Activities. It's just noise. It's noise so that you don't have to be alone. It's noise so that you don't have to listen to what's going on inside of you. It's just noise to keep out the quiet. Because the quiet is very uncomfortable. The quiet is that place where spirit can come up and start saying, let's shift this. Let's shift that. Let's look at this. Ooh, that's yucky. Let's look at it again. Let's keep looking at it. Let's allow for who we are and what we're feeling truly to come up and be known and seen. That's the noise. Oh, take a breath. So the ideal is for us in any of our situations is to choose to stay, to choose to sit, to choose and be willing to let that glass, that chaotic glass full of stuff, settle down. to be willing to let the noise go away so that we can just sit in that place. Yes, it's not comfortable, but I'm telling you, it's worthwhile, because from there grows some amazing things that you would never get to see if you run from it, and you will never get to experience if the noise is too loud. Very, very important. I have a little quote here from Brené Brown from Atlas of the Heart. She says, in these challenging moments of dissonance, we need to stay curious and resist choosing comfort over courage. It's brave to invite new information to the table, to sit with it and hear it out. It's also rare in these days. So there is a place where we get to choose. And that's the thing that I find most important in our lives. Because at the end of the day, what we know is we co-create our experience with the divine. So we get to choose. We get to choose what our experience is. We get to choose our perception. We can look and go, oh, this is most definitely a 6. But my goodness, it looks much like a 9. Could it be both? Is it both? Well, I'm willing to be flexible. Maybe one day it's 6 and one day it's 9. And I'm willing to see it, and I'm willing to lean into it. Because that's life. It is a paradox, and if we can play in it, we're doing really, really good. So let me just close with my favorite author, Mark Nepo. He always seems to come up on Sunday morning and go, look at me, I've got something for you. And it is. It's Sunday mornings that he comes forward and says that. He goes, there's 2 ways to feel the wind. There are 2 ways to feel wind. Climb into the open and be still, or keep moving. There's your paradox. Everyone alive embodies both being and doing. The wind we create by running is the energy of becoming, and the wind that comes to us by stillness, by stilling ourselves, is the energy of being. I'm going to say that again. The wind we create by running is the energy of becoming, and the wind that comes to us by stilling ourselves is the energy of being. Being human, there are endless times we need to be still, and as many times we need to move. But much of our confusion as modern citizens comes from trying to have the one we are more comfortable with substitute for the other. We're running away from the one that could serve us more. Those of us who struggle with being still often can't find the native wind, while those of us uncomfortable with living in the world can retreat into a stillness that is open, but often void of the energy of living. We got to do it all, folks. We got to run with the wind, and we have to be still to feel it at the same time. And so it is. Let's take this to prayer. So we just breathe into this moment and into this time of knowingness, this time of being together here where we can recognize and know that we are so many versions of this individualized expression of the divine. Even with each one of us, within ourselves, we have so many facets that want to be known. We have so many ideas that could seemingly contradict themselves, and yet we can look and go, it's all one. We can play with paradox. We can play in that arena where we can say today, yes, this is the truth, and say today, tomorrow, this is the truth, and they will both be right. And so I know for us as we walk this week and we walk out our holiday season, where we might encounter even more challenges as we walk through our paths, that there is a willingness in us, there is a calm in us to sit, to stay, to be, and allow that stillness to come forward and show us something wonderful. And if we're running, let us run and experience the wind in its fullness. But let us be running towards ourselves, not away from us. So I call it good. So I just release this prayer knowing that it's done. And together we can claim it by saying, and so it is. Thank you.